So today we are starting a new canto. We are still in book 1, Canto 4, that is the secret knowledge. So before taking up the caption line, we'll dwell upon this particular canto a little bit, and we'll take up from the first line itself so that we can get a whole picture. In fact, this canto, the secret knowledge, is also called by a lot more people by the name of Sri Aurobindo Upanishad, because it contains, this particular canto contains the essence of the whole mantric poem, that is Savitri. So it's a very, very important canto. Let us look at the first line. On a height he stood that looked towards greater heights. So again, this is spoken about Ashapati. In fact, in the last canto, we found that Ashapati, having been released from the clutches of ignorance and lower nature, now in this canto, what we'll see is the revelation of the secret knowledge is being given to him. And in the first line, as we said, on a height he stood that looked towards greater heights. Here only Sri Aurobindo is speaking about Ashapati, and in the rest of the canto, the whole canto, he will be taking a world view only and about man's state of affairs. So the next line, the next stanza rather, our early approaches to the infinite are sunrise splendors on a marvelous verge, while lingers yet unseen the glorious sun. As man tries to approach the infinite, the eternal, the divine, that means when one takes up the path of yoga, then he experiences a lot of unusual things in life. He sees different visions of colors, of hues, different colors, hues, and hears sounds, and all those things start happening to him. But this is only the first kind of experiences which happen to him. And this is not the end in itself, because when he starts, what happens? The yogic power which starts working opens up in himself the channels through which the power works, and then so many things happen, because he's being normally a man which is preoccupied with superficial things, superficial things. He starts getting views of the unseen tracts which are there behind the sensory organs. So this is an analogy Sri Aurobindo has brought in here, that our early approaches to the infinite are sunrise splendors on a marvelous verge, while lingers yet unseen the glorious sun. In fact, when sun comes up in the morning, just before it arises, it emerges in the sky, what we see, there are different colors, different hues, and we feel very happy. But yet the sun hasn't come up as yet. And only when the sun comes up, then we get the full splendor of it. So it is also just like that, the state of which Sri Aurobindo is speaking about, that when someone takes up to yoga, then he has a lot of experiences of those kinds, visions, then sounds, everything is opened up to him. But these are sunrise splendors on a marvelous verge, while lingers yet unseen the glorious sun. In fact, only when he rises up in his consciousness more and more with passing of the days, with his pursuit, then only he starts seeing much more than what he used to. And what now we see is a shadow of what must come. Again, in the next line he says, what now we see is a shadow of what must come. Whatever we are seeing now is a shadow only, because the main things which come before that, there comes, it is just like our trailer of a movie. We do not happen to see the movie in the first instance itself. We see some clippings, but only after seeing the movie we get the whole picture. It is just like that only. So it is just like shadow of what we are seeing. The main light will be coming afterwards only. The earth's uplook to a remote unknown is a preface only of the epic climb of human soul from its flat earthly state to the discovery of a greater self and the far gleam of an eternal light. Earth's uplook to a remote unknown. Now earth is looking upwards towards the sky, and it is a preface only of the epic climb of human soul. People living on earth now, it is just like a preface. What is a preface? Preface is the first page, index of a page, in which we find a glimpse of the contents of the book in a nutshell. So here also it is an analogy of Sri Aurobindo, that art's uplook towards the remote unknown, because the whole of humanity, although is looking upwards towards the divine, it does not know what is there. It is unknown and remote also. It is not open, but remote somewhere, hidden somewhere. And human soul from its flat earthly state, because they are always, we can say, in a rut. Human being, or rather human beings, whoever lives on earth, is always it can be called a groove, where he moves always in the same circle, round and round. And he thinks that this is what life is all about. But until and unless he comes out of that groove, that quagmire, full of ignorance, full of all that which is lower. Until and unless he comes out of that, he cannot see the light, see the things which are better off than the present one. So he awaits to the discovery of greater self and the far gleam of an eternal light. Until and unless that happens, you'll have to pursue, you'll have to seek the divine and its working through the process of yoga. This world is a beginning and a base where life and mind erect their structured dreams. An unborn power must build reality. At the same vein, the poet says that this world is a beginning and a base where life and mind erect their structured dreams. When we construct a building, what we need most? First and foremost, we need a foundation, a base, only on which we can structure the other things which keeps on building one after the other. If we do not have the foundation, then how can we build something beautiful on it? It is just like that only. The world is also a beginning and a base, and stage by stage it is being built, the new things are being added, where life and mind erect their structured dreams. An unborn power must build reality. Till now, whatever power was there working upon earth, it was there, it was working, but that is not sufficient to release the human lot from all the ignorance and all the suffering that is subject to him. So there must come an unborn power which is not hitherto existent on earth. It has to be brought down by that yogic force only from above. And then finally we arrive in our caption sentence: a deathbound littleness is not all we are. Immortal our forgotten vastnesses await discovery in our summit selves. Unmeasured breadths and depths of being are ours. Although we all know that we are a human being is mortal on earth, death-bound, and our life itself is death-bound littleness, as he says. But it is not all we are. That is not what man is made of. There are other substances also. There are other selves also, of which we are not aware yet. In fact, there are immortal, forgotten vastnesses which await discovery in our summit selves. Now, we only know about our surface being, which is mind-born. We live in a periphery of the mind and we think that that is all that is to be known. That is why all our perceptions of life and consequently all the actions deriving out of that, these are limited in its scope and it cannot go too far to make it possible for a human being to bring the divine qualities in him. But that is not the end of it actually. In ourselves, which is extended, there are so many selves actually. And there are channels of which we have just spoken in the beginning. There are tracks which extends themselves to spiritual heights. There are so many realms of spiritual consciousness that we have spoken earlier also. So, man as it is await the discovery of the forgotten immortal vastness in our summit selves, in the heights of our consciousness, which we can attain through the process, through yoga. These are there, up there, which can be attained. And there are unmeasured breadths and depths of being are ours, of which we are not aware normally. Only when one takes up yoga, then everything starts bearing fruits. All those planes of consciousness start working, right from the consciousness which are above to the neither ones. All are there. In fact, we are connected to all these planes of consciousness, to subconscious, to inconscient even, and also to the superconscious, but not directly, through other those planes of consciousness which are in between. They are mediating realms of consciousness. So, it is not absolutely true that ours is a deathbound littleness. Yes, at present we face death, and it is because there are so many factors involved in it. It might be illness, it might be an accident, and finally we surrender to the dark power that is death. It is still going on, but in essence, our mission on earth is something else, which is to defeat that falsehood which is called death. Till now, of course, the physical death. Even before the physical death, we'll find in Savitri itself, in book 11, as you might be aware of it, that first, before the physical death disappears, there has to be the disappearance of ignorance, our lower nature. All those are to be cast away from our nature, and that can be possible only when we make our vessel empty, like we do in meditation. What we do, we try to disengage ourselves from all those things, that is the thoughts, the visions and all, which keep on coming on to us like assaults. But our primary objective is what? To remain quiet and calm and keep the mind empty. It is just like that in the whole process of yoga also, that gradually we'll have to learn to empty ourselves of all that stuff, and we can say that it's a baggage, of course, baggage of ignorance, baggage of falsehood, baggage of or lower nature, which thwarts the process of divine afflatus coming down to us and take possession. As we know, in essence, it is the Divine Mother who takes the whole process of yoga. That is why it is Yoga Maya. Even through Maya, through ignorance, the Divine Mother is working in us, and finally a day will come when, like Ashrapati, human beings can get rid of the ignorance, can get rid of the lower nature, and stand on the threshold of the secret knowledge of which he is speaking here. In fact, Savitri is the powerhouse, It is the supreme mantra, epic poem, and whether it is from the viewpoint of quality or quantity, we see unique features in it. From the point of value, I think no book till now, it is of course my opinion, and like a lot of other in the Aurobindo circle, that it is the book till now on earth which is the supreme mantra, and whatever contains there, in fact the whole universe has been crammed, as Mother says. So the more we have access to its true essence, its true power, the more our consciousness can change. And along with our consciousness, our life is also bound to change. Even quantity-wise, you will see that, as you know, this is the longest English poem in the English literature. This is the longest one, with 24,000 lines almost. And even there are other unique features also. Another being, there is a single sentence which has 144 words in it. Single sentence. Is it not marvelous? I'd just like to read it out for you. It's so beautiful. It is in Book 4, Canto 3. Probably I have told you, or I don't know whether I have or not, but still. It's Book 4, Canto 3. As when the mantra sings in yoga's ear, its message enters, stirring the blind brain, and keeps in the dim ignorant cells its sound. The hearer understands a form of words, and musing on the index thought it holds, he strives to read it with the laboring mind, but finds bright hints, not the embodied truth. He meets the deeper listening of his soul. The word repeats itself in rhythmic strains. Thought, vision, feeling, sense, the body's self are seized unalterably, and he endures an ecstasy and an immortal change. He feels a wideness and becomes a power. All knowledge rushes on him like a sea. transmuted by the white spiritual ray. He walks in naked heavens of joy and calm, sees the God face, and hears transcendent speech. Unequal greatness in her life was sown. So this is a whole sentence itself, having 144 words. See, quantity-wise also there are so many unique features. Savitri is absolute. The more we keep on reading it with aspiration, true aspiration, it can change our whole life itself. So that's it for the day. Jai Ma. If you have anything, please.